people are really scared of AI because they've been told AI is coming to take your jobs. AI is coming to make sure you no longer need to see people. It is not personal, it's not what. So most people look at it as a threat, really. But for us, the RG always tells us technology is here, it's not going anywhere, it's only going to get better. So we see it as an enabler. One of the challenges, like I said, is everybody seeing AI as a threat. So most people will not even invest in it. But if you see it as, like I had said earlier, the way you raise your child, you give your child data, because anybody who's born, you're not born with intelligence, right? You're influenced by your environment, your neighborhood, the way your parent talks to you, the books you read, the schools you go to, and things like that. So a child, once he's born, he's taught certain things. He's given intelligence. So for machines, you now train it based on the environment also, like I was saying. If, for instance, you're a child, they tell you when you're crossing the road, you must look left, right, before you actually cross. So AI basically tells a machine that when somebody comes online and mentions, let's say, Denis or URSB, send him this advert, because he's more likely to consume the service. I remember there was a scenario, maybe off the record. I did my MA research on the use of AI in public relations. So my focus was on how you use AI to target people in terms of ads and PR. So you have some people who will wake up and tell you how they sit there and see their jobs going because some guy has sat in a room somewhere and built this system, he's built this chatbot, so you no longer need customer care people. But the truth is, you build a world not for yourself, but those who come after you. So everything we are doing now is not really for ourselves, but for the future. So that fear of jobs going, things not happening, is what has actually delayed some of us from taking it up. The other thing is the limited data points. From back in the day, you didn't have Android systems. But now Google, where we are actually going, because if you have an Android phone, for instance, the Google Maps is on by default. That's why they're able to tell you there's traffic in Gayaza, there's traffic in wherever. They're not basing it on any physical thing they've seen cars, but they base it usually on the number of Google Maps or the phones that are in that area. There's nothing special. They know that in this area, on this road, there are 200 phones in one area. That means there's actually traffic. They've been in one area for the last 10 minutes, stagnant. It means this is definitely traffic. I remember there's somebody from Belgium who tried to mess up the system. He went and got 60 phones, put them on a cart, on a small wheelbarrow, started rolling it on roads. So anyone who was using Google Maps started believing there was jam because the system was picking up 60 mobile phones. Okay, let me not say mobile phones, but 60 cars on one road. Yet in essence, it was just mobile phones in that area that had Google Maps on. So Google picked it up as cars. Okay? So the fact that you have a phone, Google eventually you'll be able to be passing, let's say, Cafe Javas at Kamocha, and you'll get a pop-up on your phone and it tells you, are you hungry? Cafe Javas is around the corner. Because you've given it your information, it knows that you're passing this road. Cafe Javas has registered its address as being there, and you're passing by it. So it pops up. So once you have the Android phone, most people don't understand the power Google has by the fact that it has that phone. All the apps they use on their app store require you to give them permission before you actually use them, right? So for any app to work, you must give it access to your data. Truecaller, for instance. Truecaller, on the other hand, when you use Truecaller, the fact that you register your contacts online, when somebody calls you, Truecaller goes through a system that looks for the most saved name under that number. So if you have 10 people who have saved your number online as Mr. X, it will look at it and say, okay, 10 have saved it as Mr. X, 6 have saved it as Z, 3 have saved it as A. So it says this number belongs to Mr. X. You get? So the fact that there's a data point, AI is really about building a data point that you can actually use to access information for decision making. But if you do not have clean data, it's garbage that will actually come out. Same way, Google is now trying to improve the way they do the maps, because they realize that once you base it on handsets, it can give you very wrong info. But most likely than not, there's no one who will sit there and say, I'm carrying 10 phones just to confuse Google. You get? So that's a risk they actually let go of. The other challenge is the data quality, like I was saying. You remember, if you watch, there's a show on Netflix called, I think, Social Media Bias or something like that. If you went online and asked any AI tool to design Kampala in 2050, they'll probably give you this urban slum. AI will give you an urban slum based on the information that is there about Kampala. When they are crawling the internet, it just picks up potholes, it picks up bad roads, it picks up garbage. That's what people are writing about Kampala. So the system will just somehow build a picture around those data sets, potholes, garbage, bad roads, that it brings this cosmopolitan city that has all these funny looking things. But if you tell it build Kampala that has railways, that has this, that has this, that has that, it gives you that result. So finally for me, the message I'd like to give is, I didn't want to speak AI on this very high level because I would rather interest you in it, then you can actually start going further up. So AI is really about artificially providing intelligence to a system to provide you a service. That's all you actually need to do. The way you raise a child and tell them, if you cross the road without looking left or right, you'll get hit, so don't do it. If you want to take water, get a cup, put it on the table, pour water in the cup, then drink it. A child will not know that unless you've trained them, unless you've given them that artificial intelligence. So that's how